Play.
East India Bill is a narrative speech delivered by Edmund Burke. And Burke is a noted parliamentarian in the British Parliament, particularly in the House of Commons. He has been noted in the history as an inflammatory speaker, a man of justice and equity. He was not completely against the British colonialism, but exactly he used to follow the principles, ethics and morality. And that is why he made several speeches in the British Parliament criticizing the British imperial rule, colonial rule in different parts of India, particularly in different parts of the world, particularly in India and in America. This is very important. India was in his prime concern because in India the British colonialism continued more than 190 years, And Edmund Burke delivered a speech in 1783. 1783, and he delivered the speech in British Parliament, and his speech has been defined as speech on East India Bill. What do you mean by East India? East India is a company. East India is a company, and this company exactly was formed by the gracious permission of Queen Elizabeth I in 1600, that is in medieval period, and it was the beginning or the starting period of the British Empire, because the British navigator, not only the British navigator, the European navigators, the navigators of Britain, France, Portugal, Denmark, and other colonialist nations, Spain, started the navigation in different sea routes, and the objective was very clear. They wanted to establish colony in different parts of the world, particularly in the underprivileged communities. The communities particularly lag behind in naval power. It is very important that European countries, especially Portugal, Spain, and Denmark, achieved the championship, especially in navigation, in naval power, in the beginning of the 15th century. It is very, very important, And then France exactly took a certain kind of control of the sea route of the world. You have to know the background of the colony, of the European colony in Asia, Europe, and Latin America. And Asia, America, Africa, and Latin America. That is very important, not in Europe. There was no colony in European countries because maximum European countries are very much powerful in navigation, in naval force. But Asia, Africa, and Latin America were very much weak in naval power. They did not have any navy to control the sea routes, to control Atlantic and Pacific. That is very important. And in the second phase, France was found very powerful in navigation. And last of all, in the beginning of the 17th century, English exactly emerged in the sea route as one of the naval powers of the world and started navigating and finding suitable place for establishing their colonies. and it was India had become the target of the European colonies. Why? This is very important because India was noted in the medieval period as one of the richest regions of the world. And the story of the resources of India attracted the European navigators. And that is why Portuguese, Spanish, and Danish, navigators started coming to India and also in Africa and Latin America. India was the prime objective. And in course of their navigation, Magellan, Vasco da Gama came, and Vasco da Gama for the first time stepped in Indian seashore. After second man, Magellan, he exactly stepped in the seaport of Calicut. He came here to study the feasibility of establishing colony, and according to the report, convenient report of making establishment of the colonies, particularly in the coastal areas of India, Portuguese started coming to India. And within a very short time, you will find the Portuguese colony exactly to control the southern parts of India, the coastal areas of India, that is Goa, Daman, Diu, and Cochin. And this colony of Portuguese, especially in the coastal areas of India, continued more than 500 years. The English came and took the control of India as the foreign ruler after the Battle of Palashi, where the independent Nawab of Bengal, Siraj-ud-Dowlah, was seriously defeated and killed at the hand of Clive, a petty soldier who exactly was commanding only 3,000 soldiers. But on the other hand, Siraj-ud-Dowlah was commanding more than 50,000 soldiers in the Battle of Plassey. But strategically, Siraj-ud-Dowlah could not win the battle because of his renegade general, Mirza Fakhr, designed the conspiracy, making a certain kind of conspirating plot with the British, and Siraj-ud-Dowlah exactly was seriously defeated and could not win the battle. After the Battle of Palashi, the English started taking the control. For the first time, they took the control of the Bengal, the administrative control of Bengal, and then they started expanding their territorial control all over India after the Battle of Buxar, where the three major powers of the Muslim powers of India were seriously defeated at the hand of Clive in the Battle of Buxar. I'd like to mention the three monarchs of India who were seriously defeated at the hand of Clive. One was Mughal Emperor Shah Alam, and the Nawab of Ayodhya, and then Mir Qasim, the Nawab of Bengal. The Indian monarchs are not equipped with the arms and ammunitions, sophisticated arms and ammunitions, to make an articulate defensive measure against the British colonial power. And that is why Clive, in that battle also exactly owned the battle and took the control. And not only that, the East India Company's head, Lord Clive, during the time took the control of the Mughal family, Mughal dynasty in Delhi. That is the picture. How did the European how did the European come to India? It was very easy for them because they were very much powerful in naval power. But in Indian monarchs did not have any naval power at all. Akbar was the greatest emperor of India, who exactly is famous for his wisdom, sagacity, and skilled administration, courage and bravery, and his large number of troops, Mughal troops. But he was a man who was also a visionary, but could not exactly imagine or feel the necessity or the importance of the establishment of the naval force to make a defensive measure against the European colonial powers. who started already coming to India to capture. When Akbar exactly was ascended the throne of Delhi, before that, before the accession of Emperor Akbar to the throne of Delhi, the Portuguese colonial power took the control of the northern areas of India, the coastal areas of India. Goa, Daman, Diu and Cochin had already been under the control of the Portuguese colonial power. Akbar had to see this. Even then, he could not exactly feel the necessity of making a naval force to defend the European colonial power. Here lies the lack of sagacity of the Indian monarchs. Indian monarchs could not take any sort of articulate or scientific or any modern defense against the European colonial power. And consequently, result is that after Portuguese, the French came, they also exactly took the control of some territories all over India, and then English exactly had played the final game and took the entire subcontinent and subjugated India for more than 190 years and plundered and looted properties, resources of India, and they took it to the motherland Britain. And by the resources of India, you know that the English developed the major cities in England like London, Glasgow, and other magnificent cities of Britain had been built by the money, by the resources taken by the British colonial power from India. And Mr. Shashi Tharoor, Dr. Shashi Tharoor, have you heard the name of Shashi Tharoor? The most intellectual figure right now in India. You know, he was once upon a time the cabinet members, one of the cabinet members of the Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. He was the State Minister of External Affairs. Dr.